everyone. So today we're going to continue with inequalities. So last week we worked on one-step inequalities, and then today we're going to work on two-step inequalities. Okay, so again with inequalities, the only difference between inequalities and regular equations is the inequality sign. So you solve them the exact same. You just need to remember that when you multiply or divide by negative, you must flip the sign. Otherwise, solving them is the exact same as if it was a normal equation. So let's work through some examples. So let's have our first example be 4x minus 1 is greater than, is less than 11. 4x minus 1 is less than 11. So I'm going to start solving it like I normally would. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. We're trying to isolate our variable. We're trying to get x by itself. So now I have 4x is less than 12. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I get x is going to be less than 3. And that is how I solve that. I would solve it exactly how I would solve a normal equation. The only difference is that it's not an equal sign. Okay, next one, 12b minus 15 is greater than 21. So I'm going to solve it the same way. I'm going to add 15 to both sides because I'm trying to get this 12b by itself so that I can really isolate the variable. So I'm going to add 15 to both sides, and I get 12b is greater than 36. Divide both sides by 12. And I get b is greater than 3. Okay. Next one, and this one's going to be a sign flipping one. Negative 3x plus 8 is less than 15. So I'm going to start, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. And I get negative 3x is less than 7. So now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3, and when I do that, because it's a negative, this sign here has to change. So divide, and I get x. So here it's less than, it now needs to flip, and it's going to be greater than negative 7/3. And I can leave my answer like this because it's reduced, and I can leave it as an improper fraction if I would like to. Okay, next one, negative 3b minus 15 is greater than negative 24. So again, I'm going to start trying to get this negative 3b by itself so that I can isolate my variable. So I'm going to add 15 to both sides. That cancels out that. And I get negative 3b is greater than negative 9. Now I need to divide both sides by negative 3. And I get b. Here my sign was greater than, but I divided by a negative. So I'm going to flip it. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is going to be positive 3. So I get b is less than positive 3. Okay, 2 more. 8x minus 8 is less than or equal to negative 72. So here I'm going to add 8 to both sides. And I get 8x is less than or equal to negative 64. And now I need to divide both sides by 8. And here you might think, well, a negative number is being divided, but I didn't divide both sides by a negative, so my sign gets to stay the same. It's only when you divide both sides by a negative that your sign flips. So I have x is less than or equal to negative 8. Okay, let's do one last example. 4x plus 11 is less than negative 21. So again, I'm trying to get this by itself, so I'm going to subtract 11 from both sides. That gets rid of that. and I have 4x is less than negative 32. Can divide both sides by 4, and I get x is less than negative 8 as my final answer. So again, the only difference between solving normal equations and solving inequalities is that you have to pay attention to the sign, whether or not it gets to stay the same or when it flips, and it only flips when you divide both sides or multiply both sides by a negative.